I've never seen such a man. The boss doesn't pay him overtime, but he swung a sledgehammer from day to night on a construction site. When he is tired, eat a sandwich on the roof. His hands are blistered. He doesn't care. Over the years, countless walls cracked in his hands, so he is also called Bob. Several rogue workmates watched Bob work hard. Come here again as usual. In the face of provocative hooligans, Bob never responds, but he swung the sledgehammer in his hand more and more manic. The hooligans looked at Bob's reaction, feel more angry. One of them kicked over Bob's lunchbox and trampled on the sandwiches inside. Finally, Bob reacted, but he just clenched the sledgehammer in his hand. At noon, Bob came to the roof as usual. His lunch was ruined and he had to go hungry this time. Then a boy came up. This guy is often bullied by rogue workers, so he sympathized with Bob. The boy shared his lunch with Bob. Bob refused at first, but the guy said enthusiastically, this sandwich was made by his grandmother, very delicious, and told Bob he was an orphan. I've always been dependent on my grandmother. Working on the construction site is also to earn medical expenses for grandma. Bob, who was so generous, accepted the boy's share. Unexpectedly, because of this sandwich, the boy can only escape in the hands of the hooligans. In the afternoon, two hooligans are secretly discussing. It turns out that they are a little short of money recently, trying to grab an underground casino, and all this happened to be heard by Bob, who was resting. They turned to threaten Bob. Just then, accidents at the construction site. A worker's arm was broken, and this man is a member of the rogue team. Hooligans who are short of manpower once, they can only find a guy to replace him. In order not to be bullied, he had no choice but to join. In the evening, several people drove to the underground casino run by the gang. After killing the guard, holding a gun to control the crowd, the leading hooligan shouted at the boy, let him load the money as soon as possible. My God, he never saw such a scene. Trembling, he began to put money in the bag. As a result, the boy was careless. His driver's license fell to the ground. This is a hooligan shouting that everyone must be killed, but stopped by the leader. People can't afford to keep loading the rest of the money. They were scared and fled back to the construction site. Angry hooligans beat the boy. The boy was beaten to his knees to beg for mercy. But how could a hooligan let him go? They understand that only by killing the boy can they ensure that they will not be tracked down by the gang. Several people dragged the boy to the construction site, throw it into the pool pouring cement. The boy cried to spare his life, but the lunatic hooligans ignored it at all. Just then, a man's voice sounded behind the hooligans. I've never seen such a hooligan. They threw a poor boy into a pool watering cement. Seeing the guy getting killed, a fierce man with a hammer appeared. A few people looked. It was Bob who came. When the enemy met, the atmosphere was very tense. To kill him together, the gangster raised his gun to Bob. Who knows? Bob hit it with these hammers. Several people lay dead on the ground. Then a man took advantage of the chaos and shot Bob. He shot an air helplessly. Bob doesn't panic. Roll directly behind the wall to avoid each other's bullets. The rogue saw that the bullet was gone, and ignore the fallen companions, turn around and start running away, and the other one who was beaten to the ground by Bob, shouting, brother, I can still be saved. Crawling to pick up the gun, Bob broke his arm directly. Bob, who picked up the gun, didn't chase a few steps. The escaped gangster was shot in the head. Back upstairs, Bob picked up the hammer on the ground. He started asking them where they robbed the casino. Before long, the hooligans recruited. Bob is not soft. Finally, insert the hammer directly into the rogue's head. Several bodies and a rope were thrown into the pool. The frightened boy can't care so much. Straight up, he found that only the bag of robbed money and Bob's advice to him to escape from the city were left. On the other side, in the robbed underground casino, the boss of the casino has found the construction site where the young man is located and is preparing to assemble a team to go. Suddenly the light went out, followed by gunfire. People were shot and fell to the ground in the house. The lights flicker. Boss only saw the brothers who died miserably all over the ground. Before he reacts, Bob behind him has ended his life. Be accomplished. Bob pushed the door open. With domineering steps, he disappeared into the night. Bob, who thought he had done this killing quietly, what he didn't know was that his whereabouts had been secretly watched. I've never seen such a man. For a sandwich, slaughtered an entire gang. Bob can't go to the construction site next. He had to come to a restaurant first. Order your favorite sandwich. But before he took to bites, the front desk phone rings. The phone was called to him. The man on the other end of the phone said Bob's real name, and revealed a lot of secrets about Bob, and said he had left a CD at Bob's house, said there was something Bob had been trying to figure out on the CD. Bob wants to ask someone on the other end of the phone out, and hang up on the other side. Bob, who felt dangerous, paid the bill and walked out of the restaurant, under the cover of a roadside truck. run to the opposite building. Through telephone communication, Bob infers that the other party is now in a place where he can observe his position. When he reached the roof, Bob found only one mobile phone. At this time, the other party appeared on the roof of the restaurant just now, and beckoned Bob to keep in touch. I can see that this man is also powerful. Bob, who was teased, had to suspend his action. Back home, he found the CD. After checking the CD, I found that several soldiers were interrogating a man. Bob is one of them. Bob used to work for the CIA, handles some shady things for the organization. The man questioned has always stressed that he has a wife and children, but he was shot dead. See here. Bob pushed the store door angrily. Bob's wife and children were killed by gangs because of his work. Then Bob took revenge on everyone involved. He also hid his identity by pretending to die. This painful memory haunted Bob all the time, so he kept waving a hammer at the construction site day and night to vent his anger. The second day, Bob is going to ask his friends to help track down the chip. He first went to a post-war convalescent center. The person in charge here is his comrades in arms. After knowing the situation, advised Bob not to act rashly. After leaving here, Bob found another woman who knew his identity, Blonde. She is a newspaper reporter full of justice. It can be seen that her relationship with Bob is also very special. After a brief conversation, Blondie decided to help Bob trace the chip. After she returned to the newspaper to investigate, I really found the information of the chip. It turns out that this chip was an intelligence analyst at the Department of Homeland Security. A year ago, the newspaper reported that he was killed, but eventually blocked by the Director of Homeland Security. It was not released. The second day, Blondie gave Bob the results of the investigation and the information about the chip. Bob realized that his enemy was also a fake